So yeah, Dawg Talk episode 4, and our sponsor today is our very own Spotify Apple Music playlist. It's called Dawg Talk. It'll be in the description for everybody listening. Go check it out. Shit, that's my
We're really
phone.
bad at adding stuff to it, but it'll get there. Promise.
Yeah, it's updated monthly right now, but yeah. So we have Zack from Primrose Productions on, and so yeah, basically you run your own studio out of in Vermont, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you have like a new song coming out, don't you?
I do. This one's actually one of my own tracks that I've been working on.
Okay. And you work on mainly like metal, right? Like that's your favorite?
Yeah, rock and metal.
Okay. What's the name of the song that's coming out?
This track is called My Own. I just wrote all the music for it because I've been writing a lot more metal recently, and I'm really not a metal vocalist at all. What I've been doing is I've been writing the music and recording the music, and then I've been collaborating with a bunch of different vocalists I know. And one on this track is a guy named Dave Swillem. So he wrote the lyrics on this one, and he did the vocals for it, and I just did all the instruments and I mixed it.
Nice. So how long, or actually how did you meet this person? You like meet a lot of people through your studio, right?
I mean, this was just one of the many people in kind of the local scene.
Okay.
I also do band interviews on my YouTube channel, and his band was supposed to be on the show a couple weeks ago, but obviously with everything going on in the world right now, we kind of had to cancel that and postpone it for a later date. But yeah, so I met him through that. His band wanted to be on the show, and so I had him added on Facebook along with a bunch of other vocalists. Just like I have pretty much every friend on my Facebook is a musician in some way, shape, or form. I pretty much just posted on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, any vocalists want to collab?" Because I cannot do metal vocals.
Yeah, it must be easy.
So you've been dropping. You go ahead.
So it must be like easy, like getting to collab with people, because like since you're so into the local scene, you must like know a lot of people, right?
I mean, yeah, like I said, I literally just posted a Facebook post and was like, "Who wants to collab?" I had like 8 different vocalists comment on it, like, "Hey, I'm down."
That's awesome.
So I've just been kind of, whenever I write a new song and have it pretty much recorded, I send the instrumental to all of them, and like whoever calls dibs gets it. So
yeah,
working well.
So you've been dropping like a decent amount of singles lately over the last few months.
Yeah, I've been pretty much doing one a month for the last few months of my own stuff. Then obviously I'm doing recording projects for other people on top of it, but my own personal music, I've been dropping about one a month.
Yeah, I think
Do you want to talk about those tracks at all, or just kind of link them and do whatever?
I'll just link them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of artists do that more and more. I think that's what I should have done in the beginning, is like drop one song a month instead of just dropping them all at the same time. Because like when you drop one a month, you have like a good amount of consistency that you can, build an audience off your YouTube channel. Because like people want to see like
for
new
1 second.
content. Say again.
The time out for 1 second. I was shutting off the fucking dehumidifier. So start that whole thought over so you can
so
run it clean.
Basically, like I see that now, like more and more nowadays, like people are dropping one song a month because like it's such a better marketing strategy than just dropping everything at once. Like that was my mistake with like my last project I did. I should have like dropped one song a month, but I just dropped everything at once, which is obviously like not the best plan.
Well, yeah, because I feel like with the way people are consuming now, no one really sits down and listens to a whole album anymore. They just kind of throw it into a list and shuffle it around.
Definitely.
The whole thing is that for decades, like almost 100 years at this point, the way music has come out has been people drop full albums. That's what people think they should still be doing, and because it was the thing to do for the longest time. And honestly, there's kind of a almost romantic interest in doing that, because a lot of the times when you write songs, you kind of write them in a batch, and they all sometimes have something to do with one another. You kind of want to drop those as one singular project. But just the way, like Ali said, the way things are going right now, people won't sit down and listen to a whole album. I mean, some people will. I definitely still will, but most people, your average consumer, are only going to listen to one track at a time and then to another artist.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, and I think it also, on one hand, that's what consumers are doing now, and on the other, like, cost-wise, sometimes it makes more sense to space things out for some people.
Yeah, and I think, like, with dropping one single a month, like, you're able to, like, focus on just marketing that one song. And say, like, if you dropped a couple at the same time, say, like, as an independent artist, like, you aren't able to fully, like, give the maximum amount of marketing for each song. Like, you aren't gonna be able to put that out to as many ears. You know what I'm saying? And, like, maybe that one song within, like, an EP or something could have been, like, the hit, but not as many people could hear it.
That's also just kind of the traditional way. You know, you'd have a couple singles off an album, and you'd promote those singles and hope that people buy the whole album. But also just the way things are for now, it's a matter of people want consistent content from people. Like, that's the way people are building, because you don't have record labels like out there checking people out the way they used to. Not hanging out in clubs and like checking out the local bands and like, oh, you guys sound good. It's completely different now. It's all a matter of who can make themselves get noticed, mostly online. And the way to do that at the point is consistency. People don't want to see you drop one big thing and then hear nothing from you for the rest of the year. They want to see new stuff from you all the time, because otherwise, they may check you out that one time, but then you'll completely go out of their minds. They'll never think about you again. Then by the time you drop your next project next year, they might take a little interest, but more likely than not, all the people that listen to your first one aren't even going to bother listening to the second one because they've moved on.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have consistent stuff and you keep them interested nonstop, that's how you get fans now.
Yeah, and I think like doing that it's so much more powerful nowadays that we have like YouTube. Like, not only are you able to put out music on YouTube, like you can put out other forms of content on there too, just like to keep your audience, you know?
Yeah, sure.
And so it's definitely like a lot easier now that we have YouTube and all these different forms of social media and stuff like that.
To keep up with the modern attention span, which is not exactly.
Yeah, like we have so much stuff coming at us like every second, and like people are like they want to see something new like every second, but I don't know.
Which is why like TikTok is turning into what Vine used to be. People like the short, sweet, you can move right on from it type things.
Yeah, and dude, I think TikTok is going to be like it's going to be the thing for like really like getting your music out there, because one, it has like these short videos, but on top of that, every video, or at least the majority of them, are revolved around a song, right? And with each song in that short like time span, you can make a meme or like some type of meme format that can be easily replicated. I really think that's going to be like the formula for getting your music out there for this like next couple of years at least.
On this topic, did you want to mention anything about your TikTok project yet?
I'll keep that on the low for right now.
Okay.
We'll talk about it more once it's actually like in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So I think both of us watch a lot of your channel. And how do you think how do I want to phrase this? What do you think the reaction is from people that you vary your content more than just like, oh, here, I put out another song and here's how I did it? You do all the like little mini courses and all that fun stuff.
I think the thing with YouTube is YouTube is way more of a long-term game. Like things like Instagram and TikTok and just all the other social media pretty much is a really quick fix kind of a thing. Like you'll post one post and it'll either immediately get noticed or it won't get noticed at all. And if it doesn't get noticed at first, it's not going to build up and people aren't going to notice it more in the future. Like if you post something on Instagram or on TikTok and it doesn't get like over 200 views in the first 24 to 48 hours, nobody is going to see that. Whereas with YouTube, because YouTube is owned by Google, the way it's built is more like a search engine. So YouTube is all about keywords. You gotta, it's all the metadata. The same way that you would with a website be found on Google, you need your YouTube videos to have all that metadata to be found. So there's little tricks and stuff like want to somehow say the title of the video in the video, like low key, like at least a few of the words so that it matches because they scan basically the whole video's audio.
So Google, they actually scan like the audio within the video and match it with the title.
They scan the audio, and because a lot of people, especially now with like the virus and stuff, people are using things like that to get more views. Like they'll put coronavirus in the title and their video has nothing to do with it. And it's just because that's like the hot topic right now. They scan the audio in your video to make sure that the title matches what the content is about. Because if it doesn't, they're not going to show it to people because they don't want people to get pissed off and leave their platform because they're showing them things that aren't about what they're looking for. Oh, yeah, it's a long-term game because you can put out a video today and it may not get any views in the next 6 months. But all of a sudden, within the next like year or two, people might be searching for something, looking for that. And that video will still come up. Whereas like an Instagram post or a TikTok post isn't from a year ago. You're not going to see those. Like you'll never see those again. But a YouTube video, a piece of content there, it'll be found forever as long as your tags and your title and the content of your video matches whatever that person's searching for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because last week we did this interview with this guy GTTC, and like literally just this morning I found that we got a new subscriber, and it was most likely because of that interview. Like we hadn't posted since last week, so yeah.
Whereas if you were talking about Instagram or TikTok, they wouldn't have found it. Even a week later, they wouldn't have found your post from a week ago.
Exactly.
I think we touched on it with him that he was just posting for fun and making this stuff for fun, and then all of a sudden the potato chip type beat just blew up.
Just like
out of the blue, and had been posted for a while.
Yeah, he was just making like the dumbest things, like potato chip beat, divorced parents type beat. Like it's more like, I don't know. He also makes regular beats too, but that's really like how he started popping off, is just like making something different, you know, kind of weird.
Just
the other thing
right
is
person came across it.
Entertaining stuff is like, even if you do more serious stuff, like putting out the fun stuff is definitely more likely to get you more traction faster.
Yeah.
Which is why he ended up on Jimmy Fallon. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So you got to keep that in mind. People want to be in, and especially in this culture of people getting off on TikTok, like that's what they want. They want the short, stupid, funny things that are going to make them laugh for a couple minutes, which makes sense because I mean, who doesn't like to laugh? But like,
so go ahead.
Also, things like that, they kind of show people like who you are as a person. Like it's hard to fake that kind of funny, you know? Like unless you're actually a genuinely funny, fun person, it's really hard to pretend to be that way. Because the last thing people want is for somebody to be fake. You know, no one wants to watch. It's different in movies and TV shows where obviously they're actors, but like on YouTube and any kind of social media, the people want to follow real people. They don't want to follow characters.
Yeah, I think we touched on this on either episode 0 or 1, maybe both, about how no one wants to like sit down and listen to or watch something that's like stiff and red and just super planned out.
That's like one of the advantages of YouTube also, like you're not looking at this actor or like somebody who's so far off distance from like who you are as a person. You have like these people who actually give you like they show you that they're an actual person and like you see it within their content. Like there's no restrictions with how you make your stuff. You know, those people and those people that like those people that act more real, like I usually see those types of people like getting more clicks and stuff like that. I don't know. That's just what I've seen on YouTube, really.
I mean, the other thing of that is, as far as like pre-scripted content, it's a lot harder to do pre-scripted content than you think it is. Like, even I've tried to do some pre-scripted stuff in the past, and even like literally less than 30 seconds worth of words took me like over an hour to get right.
Damn.
Like, so first of all, it takes too much time. Like, it's a complete waste of your time to do pre-scripted content. And it also alienates people because, like we've already established, people don't want to listen to someone fake. They want to have a real human connection. So doing it
sounds
like
so unnatural too.
Yeah. Doing it freeform is just the way to go. It saves time because you're just making it up as you go. And maybe not like making it up, but like you're obviously touching on the things you want to, but it's not, like, you're not restricted.
Right. Like I write sometimes, not that I ever finish anything, but if you sit down, and some people have really good luck like completely sketching out every single thing they want to put in the book or story or whatever, but most of the time that makes it super stiff to read. Where if you just sit down with kind of a frame of what you kind of might want to write about and go from there, it usually reads so much better. And I think it's the same way with
you get into that flow, and it's just like, before you know it, if you try and make a framework for the whole thing, it feels too much like work.
Exactly.
Because if you just sit down and do it, it has a flow to it. It just like comes out of you naturally, and it feels way more like just like you're having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
I think, Luke, I had you read my latest short story that I've been working on for like 2 years because it's so structured that I just don't want to sit down and write it anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's so much work.
Yeah, I think like I was watching one of your videos the other day, Zach, and it was I can't remember the title. It was the one about like, you know, like when you need to take a break, like when you're feeling discouraged, you know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, it was that one about like how if you really like try and overthink stuff, like you could really like get yourself discouraged. So sometimes like it's better to just like take that break and come back to like your writing with a fresh mind, you know?
Sure. Yeah. If you spend too much time on something, if something's frustrating you with your art, and yeah, you just need to take a break for a day or two. Because if you sit there and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I know it's not working, but I can't tell what's not working, and I have to figure it out right now. I'm just gonna make it worse by trying to fix it. Because step away for a day and you come back and it's like, oh wow, that was actually really easy. Now it makes way more sense, and it's way better than if I tried to like rip it apart from, for lack of a better word, like a mathematical point of view.
Yeah.
I think at the same time you have to make sure you don't step away for too long.
Because then
you
you
don't
can
want to go
forget
back
about
to it. Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying step away forever. Like step away for literally 2 days.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 days. Like I'm not saying put it down for 6 months and try to come back, because you're right, you won't come back. And I mean that I know some people that have taken breaks from like music for that long and still come back and ended up doing better stuff, but that's definitely the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Do you want to say all that again? It cut out.
I heard on my end.
Did you? It might just be me then. Okay.
Yeah, I think like one of the things about being like a musician or like anything within like the creative area is that like you're always feeling inspired by something most of the time, and like you always want to work on the next project. And I think that's like an issue with most creatives is like they don't usually finish most of their projects. They're always trying to
Finish. You
work
just
on.
wanna.
They have the
Yeah.
vision for it, but most of the time they always, not all the time, they really, see it through.
Like seeing a shinier rock.
Yeah, it's a good way
It's
of
like I
putting it.
want that one, not this one. Because it's more fun to start projects than sit down and finish them.
Yeah, but
I
like
think.
that feeling once you actually finish something is,
True.
it's amazing.
And more than that, though, I think that stems from people striving for perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it's art. It's not going to be perfect until 50 years from now when some like fucking old ass art teacher is like, this was the most wonderful piece of the last 200 years. It's like, I guarantee whoever made that quote unquote amazing piece of art didn't think it was that great at the time. Like,
Yeah.
it's so rare that someone's like, this is my masterpiece, and it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not, people are like, this is whatever I just made, this is shit. And then like somehow people see the beauty of it.
I mean, look at the Mona Lisa. He never finished that painting. He kept painting over it. And now it's one of the
Really?
most
I don't know the
famous...
story behind that.
Yeah, I can't remember how many times they think he's painted over it, but he never actually finished what he wanted. He couldn't get it right.
That's crazy.
And now it's like one of the most famous, paintings around.
And if that bitch would have just smiled, it would have been much easier for him.
Well,
I don't think I could picture her smiling. Like,
yeah, right?
I don't know.
I've seen it edited. It's creepy as hell. But yeah, that was one of those things, like, no matter what he did, he didn't like it. And he never did, but it's literally probably the most famous painting.
Yeah, definitely. So it's up there.
To people that don't really
probably
know much else about art, it's probably the most famous painting.
Between that and Starry Night.
Well, yeah, because everyone knows Mona Lisa. Everyone. And most people know Starry Night. If not, then I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like people need to realize that trying to make something perfect isn't worth it. And it's like people just give up because it's not perfect and move on to the next thing, thinking that that'll be perfect, and then it's not.
Yeah.
Just
feel obsessed about it until you die.
Put it out there. Like, you're not going for 100%. You're going for 90%. You can get something 90% there, you're good. Put it out. Honestly, don't obsess over it because you will drive yourself crazy. You will never get anything out there. Like, if you think that every musician ever has been 100% satisfied with a song before they put it out, you're fucking wrong.
Yeah. I think a lot of musicians also like they look back on their older stuff and a lot of the times they're like, damn, I should have fixed this, I should have fixed that. But like if they really like nitpicked on their songs and like focused on these little details, it would literally take forever. So yeah.
It's like that's why the general rule is don't look at past work.
Yeah.
Like, once you've done it and it's out there, good. The only time you should be looking at past work is to remember how a song goes if you need to perform it for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I wanted to touch back on a point that we were talking about earlier. It was about putting out content, and we were talking about how you have the serious stuff and then you also have like the fun stuff. And I just want to get like your opinion on, what in your opinion what would be like a good form of fun content for a musician to be putting out.
I mean, it's hard for me because I don't think that really any of my content is fun for anyone but myself. Because I'm like the audio nerd, so I'm putting out like all this nerdy audio stuff.
And you put out like a lot of informative stuff. That's kind of your thing.
I mean, I think what it comes down to is, first of all, be yourself, and second of all, make things that you'll like. Because if you try and make stuff with the intention of other people liking it, first of all, you're gonna seem fake, and second of all, you're not gonna do a good job. Like, if you think it's a good idea, then you do it, and then just find how to get that in front of the right people. Because there's always, there's no one person in the world who is like completely 100% unique.
Yeah.
Like, there's at least a few hundred people, if not a few thousand or a few million people in the world that are somewhat similar to you. So it's like, if you do something that you would like, that you would be able to sit down and watch, and you would find it interesting or funny or whatever, and then just figure out how to get it in front of people like you that would enjoy it.
Right. Yeah.
So let's talk about your studio.
Okay, what about it?
You're in Vermont, right?
Southern Vermont.
And what would you want people to know about it? Not coming in.
I mean, pretty much, we focus on rock and metal. Those are the kinds of bands I've always been in. That's the kind of music I've always listened to. So that's the kind of stuff I like to work on. It's what I know best. So, and being that I know it best, I mean, there's some producers out there that are, for whatever reason, really good at a genre that they hate. And that's not me.
Yeah.
Just because I know this stuff so well, because I've been listening to it and playing it my whole life, it makes it easier for me to make that kind of music sound good. So if you're a rock or metal musician and anywhere in New England, or if you feel like making a trip to Southern Vermont, hit me up.
Right, and we'll
link channels and Instagrams and
all that good stuff.
The website, even all that fun jazz. And I know I've worked with you a bit for some of your stuff and some of Hendawg's stuff, and it's always super, like, obviously professional, very professional, and you're a perfectionist.
I'm more of a perfectionist when I'm working with other people's music than I am. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I will do, if you come to record at my studio, and I'm going to make sure that you leave here with something that you're happy with.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. Like, you're really good about that, like pointing out things that other people could do better and other musicians. Because I know, like, whenever I send in a song, or like when I was up there recording, like, you really gave good information on like how I could improve it and stuff like that. And you're very like objective with your constructive criticism to other musicians.
I want people to be happy with it, and I feel like somebody's half-assing something. Like, if something's bad and I genuinely feel that that's the best the artist can do, I won't say anything. But that's a very, very rare occurrence. I pretty much always feel like if something isn't making me like, I'm not awestruck with how great something sounds, and you can do better. And that's just the fact.
Trust me, guys. He'll keep you in the studio all day on one line of the song if he has to.
Yeah, because like I said, I want you to have the best product possible. And when you come to me to record, then it's on me. Like, at that point, it's up to me to get you a good product. And I'm not going to let you be dissatisfied. I'm going to do everything I can to make you happy with it. And if that means pushing you harder than you've ever been pushed to get a performance, then that's what we're going to do. And if you don't want stuff to sound awesome, if you don't want to be pushed to your limits, if you don't want to get the best performance ever, then you can go somewhere else. But if you work with me, I'm going to make absolutely sure that the best possible stuff comes out of your face, comes out of your fingers.
Right. has there ever been like a situation where you had somebody in the studio and like they just like did not give a fuck? Like they're paying you for studio time, but like it felt like they're wasting your time and they're wasting their own time. Has there ever been like a situation like that?
It was not a paying client. There has been a situation like that. It was not a paying client. It was one of my old bands. Not going to name names, but one of my old singers in one of my old bands was super lazy. It would come in. I would take time out of my day to set up and be ready for him, and would be coming to do vocals for like maybe the most he ever came to try to do vocals in one day was 3 songs. So it's like 3 songs. The absolute most it should take is an hour per song to record vocals. Like the main vocal track. We're not talking about harmonies and all that stuff, but the main vocal track for one song shouldn't take more than an hour.
Yeah.
But we're like half hour in and he was writing lyrics. He didn't even get in front of the microphone yet. Like he came in and he knew like weeks ahead of time that on this date at this time he was coming in to do vocals. And he didn't even bother to write his lyrics out. So half hour in, he's still writing lyrics. I'm like, are you almost ready? Like, we got to get this done. Like, I have other stuff to do. Like, this isn't, obviously, this is one of my bands, so it's not paying work. It's like, I have stuff for clients I need to get done. You need to hurry up. And it got to be like almost an hour in, and he was still writing lyrics. I was like, dude, just go home.
Yeah, that would piss me off.
At that point, it's like, I wasted an hour of my time here waiting for you to do it. Like, go home. And I mean, I think that got it through his head because he drove an hour here and then had to drive an hour home to write lyrics for an hour. So I hope he learned that lesson. But yeah, luckily it wasn't a paying client because I would like, I wouldn't want to be that asshole to a client. But it's like, if you don't even have your own lyrics ready for your vocal session, come on.
Yeah.
And this is why places charge by the hour, guys.
Oh yeah. I don't though. I charge by the project, which is risky, but I mean, I also won't work with a band if I don't think they're good enough. I mean, that's kind of a dick thing to say, but like, I don't want to waste my time, and I don't want to waste their time. So.
Yeah, if they don't know how to even play, then there's no point of them being there, or if they're just straight garbage. But
then why do you let me in the door?
Okay.
All right, so I got another question here. So you've been playing in bands for over 10 years, right?
Yes, sir.
So
only playing in good bands in 5 years for 5 years, but I have been playing in bands for 10 years. Yes.
So over the course of like out of all this time, this is like so much time playing in bands. Is there like a pattern you've noticed in, sort of like, I don't know, like maybe what makes a band more successful in your opinion, or like maybe just being an artist itself? Like, are there any consistencies?
Do you mean in terms of personal fulfillment or commercial success?
Let's go with commercial success right now. We can touch back on the personal fulfillment.
So for that, for getting your band as far as you can, what it comes down to is you cannot have any weak links. Like, that's the biggest thing. Everyone needs to pull their weight, which is really hard. In most bands, there's at least one, if not a couple people that just aren't as motivated as everyone else. And it's usually the bassist. And I can say that because I've been a bassist for a decade. So I'm not harping on bassist to be a dick to bassist. I'm harping on bassist because step the fuck up. Don't make us look bad. But yeah, so there's usually at least one person in the band that is just not into it. And if they're not pulling their weight, you need to sit down and have a conversation with them and be like, look, what do you want to get out of the band? And if their answer is anything other than want to do this as a full-time career, and you need to find somebody else if you want to be successful.
Right.
If they say that they want to have the band as their full-time career, and you need to tell them, look, you want to do that too, but you're not pulling your weight. If you want to do that, you need to do this, this, and this. If you don't do this, this, and this by this date, we're replacing you.
And have you ever had
kind of harsh?
Like ever replace somebody?
There have been times that we wanted to do that, and the band ended up just falling apart before it actually happened, and it had nothing to do with the situation with that particular person. It just like
so replacing people can be kind of risky sometimes.
Well, like I said, things fell apart not because of trying to replace them. It's just like other stuff happens, and it just like So I've never really gone through with replacing a member because I've only been in 4 bands that I would say were like I've only been in 4 bands that I have been like actually gigging for any consistent amount of time. And of those 4 bands, only one of them fell apart when we were trying to get everyone to pull their weight, and it wasn't really related. It was just other stuff going on. And another one, it was like the whole band except for me was like not having it, and I left the band because of that. That was just like my personal choice. Like I was trying to get us to go somewhere, and they were like not. So I was like, all right, later, guys. Good luck.
Yeah.
So
balance
everyone has to pull
the band life, because you are in one right now, and the studio life, because both of those things take up, I'm sure, a tremendous amount of time.
Oh yeah. So we're trying to balance those. It's scheduling is key. Like you need to, and the same thing goes for like a regular day job or whatever and a band. Like you guys need to have you need to talk to your band first and figure out like, okay, we need pick 1 or 2 nights a week. They're the same nights every week that we are going to practice at the same time so that I can work the rest of my life around those 2 nights. And then gigs, you kind of drop those in wherever you can. And once you get farther with the band, it becomes easier to drop those in because they start taking up so much time. You have so many gigs that you get to get rid of the happy day job or whatever and just focus on the band. But yeah, it's all about scheduling. Like you need to pick what you're prioritizing, and if you're trying to make it as a musician, then that's what you really need to be prioritizing. And so figure out how to make it work. Work out a schedule, like pick set times, make everyone pick set times, and everybody work around those set times so that, and that's just more helpful for everyone to do it that way. Because like your band wouldn't be happy if they're trying to practice and you're like, sorry guys, I got this other thing. And it's like, if you guys don't want that to happen, then we need to have set times so I don't schedule other stuff.
Yeah, so based off of that, sounds like consistency is definitely like super important. Setting times where, you know, everybody's on the same page is important. What are like some of the jobs that you would give out to like each, you know, person within a band to make sure, you know, the success is maximized? You know, like, is there like a person in charge of like getting gigs, another person in charge of like, you know, mixing it? Like,
ideally, gonna want everyone in the band to have a secondary skill that will benefit the band. It's nice to have somebody that's a good photographer. If you have, like, if you can find somebody that's a good photographer that's also a good musician, then that's great. If not, and get one of your bandmates to take up photography. Like, yeah, you'll want somebody to be in charge of getting gigs. There's usually one cocky asshole in your band. There's gonna be one, and that's the person you should be having getting you gigs because they're gonna talk your band up like you're the greatest thing in the world, even if you're not. You might be, but even if you're not, they need to think that you are, and they need to act like you are to get you gigs.
Yeah.
So, I'm the cocky guy. Tell him to find gigs. Find the most generally exciting person. Maybe not. Maybe exciting is the wrong word. Just the most relatable person, the one that everyone tends to like the most, like in social settings. Put them in charge of your social media accounts, and make sure that they're posting consistently. You should work out a schedule as a band, like what should be posted when. But one person should be in charge of posting those things at the set times. And you want one person to be in charge of putting merch together. That includes contacting a graphic designer to do like shirt designs and album covers and things like that. And I'm not saying they need to pay for it all. I'm just saying they need to facilitate it. They need to like broker it, I guess would be the best word. So they need to find the artist and the clothing company and whatever and work all that out. And then obviously everyone pitches in for the actual cost, but one person should be in charge of merch and stuff like that. Yeah. And those are pretty much the main things, unless you guys are trying to record yourself, in which case one of the people in the band should be in charge of that. And obviously you want to pick the one that's the best at it and that already has the best equipment and some experience with it. Because I guarantee you, if none of you have any audio experience and you all suddenly decide, hey, let's record our new record, it's not gonna.
Yo, Allison, were you talking about one time that there was this band who they said they made like an entire EP, but like they didn't mix any of their stuff?
Straight up recorded it and released it.
Like no mixing at all?
No, just mixing, no kind of like nothing.
I don't understand that. Like, I don't know.
I know this band.
No.
Okay.
But anyways, would you say like merch is like the one of the best ways to really start making money for your band and to start building it?
If you're gigging, yes. If you're playing consistent shows, then merch is your moneymaker. If not, then it's not worth it. If you're just like doing stuff mostly online, and maybe if you're doing stuff mostly online, maybe eventually if you build a big enough following, then you can start selling merch.
Yeah.
But early on, merch isn't worth it unless you're touring.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you don't have a band member that just gives away all the merch.
Guys, where'd our money go? I gave away all the merch.
In certain situations, if you're, say, playing a show with like a way bigger band, and in that case, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea to give someone in the bigger band one of your shirts before they go on and be like, hey, can you wear this on stage? That's a good idea.
But I've been a merch girl a lot. And I've noticed a lot of just giving away merch to random people because, why not? But then you turn around and you have no merch and no money to buy more.
I mean, like, one of the bad things about like giving away free merch also is like if you give it away to somebody, it's gonna have no monetary value to them. Like even if you charge like $1 for a shirt, that person is gonna associate with, hey, I bought this shirt at this show instead of, hey, this guy just gave it to me for free.
The only other situation that it might be okay to give it away is you're right, Luke. People mostly, if you give it away, people won't care about it. It's like the people that like, I like this band, so I want it, or this artist, so I want to support them by buying their merch. They're the ones that'll like care about it. But other than that, if you're playing a lot of shows with other bands, not even necessarily bands that are bigger than you, just other bands. If you really like one of the other bands and you think that they're good enough that they're going to make it somewhere really fast, good thing to do is you can trade merch. You can go to like one of the people in the band and be like, hey, I'll give you one of our shirts if you give us one of your shirts. And then you're promoting each other by wearing those shirts at different shows.
It's a good idea.
And at that point, they will wear it because you're also wearing their shirt. And honestly, it'll just, obviously there's no way to like check that the other person's wearing it. It's just on good faith. But
yeah,
it's like, but because your assumption is that they're going to be wearing your stuff, and you're going to feel bad if you're not also wearing theirs. You're going to feel guilty, like, oh, they're promoting us by wearing our shirt, but we just took their shirt and we're not wearing it. We're kind of dicks.
yeah.
Oh, there's that whole thing to it. So people will generally wear the shirt if you like trade with another band. That purpose.
True.
From the producer, engineer, having a studio level, what would be advice you'd give to someone either starting out or just not doing well and not really knowing why?
That's a tough one. Just like basically for anyone in the studio realm that's just like not at the level they want to be.
Right. Or just starting up and
so
not
regardless
really
of
knowing how to navigate.
In that case, really just practice. There's a ton of things online where you can get stems to practice your mixing, and literally nothing but practicing is going to get you better at it. There's no big secret. It's all about putting in the time and knowing your gear. So that's a big thing, is people tend to get like some inexpensive equipment to start, and they'll like get a little bit more money and they'll move on to a new piece of gear. People like get some inexpensive gear to start, and then they'll move on to a new piece of gear. They get a little bit more money. And the problem with that is like they put all this time into learning the first piece of gear. Now they have to completely relearn the second piece of gear because every piece of gear sounds different.
Yep.
They all do. So you'll get used to the one and you'll finally be at a point like, oh, I know what this one does. I know how this sounds. I know where to use it and on what to use it. Make it sound good. Then you replace it with something better and you have no idea what that one sounds like. You think you kind of backtrack a lot. And the thing this is most apparent with is going to be studio monitors. So starting out, you want to get a halfway decent set of studio monitors, usually about $500, $600 a pair, where you want to start for studio monitors. Once you get to that point, like once you pick a pair of monitors that aren't like complete trash, and you need to, once you pick a pair of monitors that aren't like complete trash, you need to stick on those because obviously that's where the sound is coming out of. That's what you're hearing is things coming through your speakers. So if you change to a new set of speakers, that's going to be detrimental what you're doing. So I think that would be the biggest thing is practice and stick to the gear you have so you know how you're using it and you know what it's going to sound like. Every new piece of gear kind of makes you backtrack at least a few months worth of effort. If you don't have enough for music to work with to practice, there's a ton of things online. There's things like Nail the Mix, and it's like you can get stems. You can get stems from different songs online. You just got to know where to look, and you can take those stems and use them to practice your mixing ability. And as far as recording stuff goes, that's just trial and error. Take your time, and especially if you're recording a vocalist, try different mics and different preamps if you have them available. If you're recording guitar especially, want to really play around with where you place the mic on the speaker, because like seriously, on recording guitar cabs, if you move the mic even like a half an inch, it can completely change the sound. So you want to take your time and figure out where on your specific guitar cabinet that mic sounds best.
Okay.
So, practice.
Now, somewhat off of that, you just released kind of a mini series about recording in your living room.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice would you give to people that don't have space? Like they don't have a studio or a decent room that they can just set up equipment and leave it kind of thing?
Yeah, so the series I did when I recorded in the living room, I literally used a little 2-channel USB interface. I used a Focusrite 2i2, and I used microphones, used a Shure SM57 and a Shure SM58 And the 58 was just what I did the voiceovers with and what I recorded the vocals with. 57 I recorded the guitar amp with, and the bass I just recorded DI. So especially as technology goes on, there's a lot of great things that you can use in the box, like amp sims and stuff. So even if you don't have the space to record a guitar amp, you can still record things DI with amp sims. And it's maybe not ideal, but you can still get some good sounds with it. And for monitoring, headphones are fine when you're starting out for sure, and you don't have a good space to set up monitors and you can't be too loud. You can use a good set of headphones. You need to know what those headphones sound like. Listen to a bunch of music on those headphones so you can use them properly. And even if you maybe don't have the best space to record, say, a guitar amp, but you do have some space, you can record a guitar amp literally anywhere and it'll sound fine because it's so loud. You're not picking up the room noise at all.
Yeah.
And for vocals, if you're trying to record vocals at home and you don't have any kind of acoustic treatment, and obviously most people for vocals will usually like to use a nice large diaphragm condenser microphone, and you do not want to do that if you're recording without acoustic treatment. Unless you have really good acoustic treatment, that large diaphragm condenser is just going to pick up all the little details of your shitty sounding room. So use something like a Shure SM58, like I did in that video series. You can still get, like, people overlook them because they're cheap and they're like a stage microphone. Think about using them for the studio, but it's still a really good microphone for vocals. And if you're in an untreated room, like, it's ideal because it doesn't pick up the room noise. It's only going to pick up your voice.
Right. Like I use a 57 for this and it does well.
Yeah, exactly.
For the price point, I mean.
Even the room I'm in right now, you can probably hear on my mic, I'm using a large diaphragm condenser, and you're probably hearing the echo in this room right now. I probably should have just pulled out an SM58 or an SM57 and used that instead, but I didn't. So now you're hearing all this reverb.
I would ask Hendawg what he's using, but he's in the restroom. Oh, there you are. What are you using for a mic?
Well, when I first started this, I used my AT4040, which, like, the first, like, 2 episodes were just so bad. It was, like, picking everything up.
That's what I'm using right now on reverb, yay.
But right now I have the SM58. I just decided to get it. Fuck it.
So I guess we can kind of close off with what gear would you suggest to someone starting out that has a small space? And after that, what are your tips for learning your headphones or monitors as far as when it comes to mixing and mastering and all that?
Okay, for gear starting out, that's a little difficult because it's different for different people. Normally, I would have recommended the Scarlett 2i2, but I've recently learned Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 for a starter interface. Recently, I've learned that it has some issues with PC. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but it has, like, you pick up a lot of artifacts when you're recording with a 2i2 into a PC. So if you're on Mac and you can get a 2i2, if you're on PC, then I would recommend just looking into a lot of cheap channel interfaces out there. Like, they're more than good enough to get started. Just do some research on them. See what'll work with your computer well. Like, that's no problem. For headphones, there's a lot of different headphones out there. You can basically anything that's $150 a pair of headphones or more are going to be good enough to do mixing and mastering on. And microphones, if you're recording anything, start off with the basics. If you're doing guitar, an SM57. If you're doing vocals, get an SM58 to start, because I'm assuming you don't have any acoustic treatment. And I would completely forego the monitors if you're not in a properly treated room. Just go on headphones until you have proper acoustic treatment. As for learning your headphones for getting good tones and mixes and everything, literally, you need to do is you need to pick like 10 hours of your favorite songs. Okay? Like preferably by album, like your 10 favorite artists and the best album by each artist. And just sit down and listen to that music on your headphones. Because you need songs that you know well, you know what they're supposed to sound like. And you listen to those on whatever you're going to be mixing on so you can hear, oh, okay, that's what those sound like on these headphones. I need to make those adjustments. And I'm recording and mixing. That's another good tip, is to use reference tracks in the mixing process. You're working on and even in the recording process. If you're working on a song and you're like, oh, this is kind of similar to this other famous song, and you're going to want to listen to that famous song, it kind of sounds like, oh, you're working on the mix for the song you're working on. So you can kind of things to sound similar, because every set of speakers, every set of headphones is going to sound different. So you need some kind of reference point. So that's all you got to do. Like, you can work on relatively cheap headphones, no problem. And a cheap interface isn't an issue at all, as long as you do your research first. So just reference tracks.
All right.
And for fun, to end it off, what songs do you usually go to for reference? Like, what's your main go-to set of music?
Oh, man.
As far as learning speakers go.
For learning speakers, my favorite album of all time is Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. And I know a lot of people hate Guns N' Roses, but I fucking love that band and I love that album, and I'm not afraid to say it. So that's a big one, just because I've listened to that album so many times. I know what that album sounds like. So it's really good for me to reference. Another good one for a mastering reference is Green Day's American Idiot, because that is widely regarded as one of the best professionally mastered albums of all time. And also, it's just a really good fucking album. And recently, I've gotten really into a band called Dragged Under. If you know Fluff, Riff Spirits and Gear on YouTube, it's his band. And I'm completely obsessed with that fucking album right now. So I've listened to that so many times. So recently, if I've been doing any kind of metal, that's what I've been using as a reference for that.
And I think I talked about it last week that I saw them live. And they're really good.
Oh yeah, they're fucking phenomenal live. Oh yeah, if you haven't checked them out, go check out Dragged Under.
We'll add them to the Spotify list. Speaking of which, don't forget to check out our Spotify list. It'll be linked down in the description.
Episode by Dawg Tawk playlist in description. Go follow, go like it, all that good stuff.
All right, and thanks to Zack Primrose from Primrose Productions for being on today. He had a lot of information.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff.
I talk a lot. Sorry, guys.
And definitely
check out me though.
No, it's your hour, so
definitely check out his YouTube channel, because he's been putting out a lot of really good information.
If you're into making music, if you're into any of the stuff that you listen to today in this podcast, definitely check out his channel. That's the place.
Everyone's got time right now, so it's the best time to learn a skill.
Just go to YouTube, search Primrose Productions Music, exactly how it sounds, and you'll find me. And there's some videos on there, whether you like to record or mix or just to play music. There's something in there for you. So,
and we'll link it below. This has been Dawg Talk episode 4. Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks Zack for being on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I'm Allie C. Y'all know Hendawg. Have a good day.